Y'all ready or nah? I'm so proud of you. Okay. Group therapy has been the most traumatic preaching series that I've done since Jesus fixed my life. Jesus fixed my life wore a lot of people out, but it's been years. Now that we're in group therapy, everybody's blocking me. Folk don't want to talk to me. They changing churches. They like, screw you. I don't know. I don't want to talk about this right now. But knowing me, I have to say what I want to say. And we've been through a lot together to the glory of God. All right. So we've done FU. How many of you have F'd you? Have you F'd yourself? Listen, because I'm here now. The hardest person to forgive is you. You can deal with mama, daddy, sister, brother, cousin, uncle, auntie. But when you start thinking about what you're disappointed in with yourself, it's a little different. So we did FU. We did the blame game. We dealt with the real truth about how we cope. It's medicine with who hurt, who did, who whatever, the blame game. Blame is easy medicine. So we dealt with that. Then, who left you? Apparently, that was the most traumatic so far. People have not wanted to look at who walked away from them. Abandonment and all of that. I've received emails, EP Teresa, that people would rather talk about rejection than abandonment. They would much rather talk about that than abandonment. But I scratched a scab in thousands of people about the mystery of abandonment. Deep breath. Today I'm dealing with something a little deeper. I'm warning you now. EP Teresa is scratching her head. We have another one that we have to go through, but listen, we're doing it together. That's the beauty of your pastor, humbly. I'm not like the rest of those dudes. They imply that it's for you. I'm saying it's us. We got to do it together. I am humbly processing this stuff with you. The book of James. Y'all nervous? This is so bad. Y'all like, now what you on, bro? Like, I ain't on. The book of James, chapter 3. Brownie, if anybody makes any sudden moves, swing on him. I got great attorneys, so just hit them. Chapter 3, verse 3. In the Amplified Bible. I will take the tithe after I'm done. And I want you to tithe. But I want to get this out my system. The book of James, chapter 3, verse 3. And I'm going to read through verse 10 in the Amplified Bible. When you're there, say, I'm there. If you're not there, say, wait. You waiters need to get an iPhone. Because I know the only reason you ain't there is because you ain't got an iPhone. Make no sense. It's the truth. I'm going to read it as is, and then we're going to go through our points. Now, how many of you have note-taking devices or utensils or something? Okay, do that. I feel the power of God now. There's something he wants to do. Now, if we put bits into the horses' mouths to make them obey us, put your hand on your chest real quick. This is group therapy. Say, I'm better than a beast. We guide their whole body as well. Y'all think dogs need to be trained, cats need litter, horses need hay. You don't think you need love. So we act like animals deserve more than us. And when somebody steps in your world and tries to train you, you reject it. But then you tell your dog, sit. Did Jesus die for dogs? Anyway, so we guide their whole body as well. Verse 4, and look at the ships. Even though they are so large and are driven by strong winds, they are still directed, watch this, by a very small rudder wherever the impulse of the helmsman determines. In other words, the ship is at the mercy of what steers it. I will repeat it, you're not listening. A ship has a journey, a travel, a map, but it's at the mercy of what is steering it. Something is steering your life. Whether you know it or not, or think about it or not, something is steering you. And the code for that is direction. Why and how I make my decisions. Directed by a very small rudder wherever the impulses of the helmsman determines. Verse 5, and in the same sense, the tongue. Come on, open up, y'all. Lakeisha, start praying, baby. Open up. The tongue. Whew. The tongue is a small part of the body, and yet it boasts of great things. This is the Amplified. See, by comparison, how great a forest is set on fire by something small. And the tongue is, in a sense, a fire. The very world of injustice, come on here, unrighteousness, the tongue is set among our members as that which contaminates the entire body and sets on fire the course of our life. Look at what the Amplified, come on y'all. Why y'all doing this early? Y'all tired already. Come on, open. The cycle of man's existence, and is itself set on fire by hell, Gehenna. For every species of beasts and birds, of reptiles and sea creatures, is tamed, has been tamed by the human race, but no one can tame the human tongue. It is a restless evil. Father, help me through this. It is undisciplined and unstable, full of deadly poison. Oh, come on, y'all. Let's go. Let's go. We're here now. With it, watch this, Ashley. We bless our Lord and Father, and with it we curse men. Who have been made in the likeness of God. Out of the same mouth come both blessing and cursing. Come on, can y'all do this today or not? Should I dismiss now, Chris? Okay. These things, my brothers, should not be this way. For we have a moral obligation to speak in a manner that reflects our fear of God and our profound respect for his precepts. Lord, your people need you. Help me to preach this, please. Send the anointing now. Hell be horrified, God be glorified, the people of God be edified. In Jesus' name, amen. If you're taking notes, we're talking about word wounds. It might not be what you think, but it may be what you think. We're talking about word wounds. Let's start here. James, hey there. BJ is one. Daryl Telefero is one. I had a few others that have now left. James is the senior lead of the council. What James does is validate, authenticate the maturity, the authenticity. I'm trying to stay out of tongues because I want to hit you real bad right now, and I'm trying to, whatever is said. because he is the elder brother, his pivot is maturity. And EP, what I've learned is there are people that despise their need to mature. They don't like it. James is our mature apostle. He stands alongside Peter and Silas and even Paul. And what he says is grow up. You're right with what you said and you're right in what you saw, but grow up. He's the mature apostle. And so he gives us the verification. He gives us the epistle of maturity. But he teaches us some stuff in his epistle that concerns me gravely. If I'm staying true to my text, Prophetess Katie, I can't even get to verse 10 because I'm stuck at verse 3. What he just taught me was the mouth turns the body. I'm going to repeat it because I thought the body turned the body. But apparently, according to the maturing apostle, he says the body turns at the direction of the mouth. Your problem is you are the victim of your mouth. Or you've been victimized, come on y'all, by somebody else's mouth. The mouth is a monster. If you can't disciple that tongue, there's a whole bunch of stuff that will happen to you, around you, for you, against you, through you, that you won't see. Say yeah. Verse 3 of this, y'all are sad already. No altar call. I'm looking at tissue everywhere. And yeah, come on. Verse 4 says it's a small member, which teaches me this, Tito. In life, according to the authenticating apostle, small members impact large realities. You end up in a large crisis, a large loss, a large event because of a small member, which may mean that maybe your issue is not your friends or your job or your career. Maybe it's your mouth. Holy Spirit, I need you. We're going to crawl deeper into this. Maybe you don't have the esteem you need because somebody didn't use their mouth well. Now, here's what's interesting, John. All right, deep breath. I just got here. Y'all are already like, Y'all are color purpling me already. Come on. Deep breath. The mouth is a muscle, which means if you don't train it, it can devastate you. It can hurt you. It can rob you. It can wound you. It can set stuff up, and I'm going to prove it now. Because you're quiet, I'm going to make it bad. So it's a small thing that impacts a bigger reality. So wherever you are today in your life, however old you are, there is something that is missing from your life because of something somebody said or not. You have something, or you lost something because of something somebody said or not. Come on, y'all, deep breath. Let's go. Let's go. We're here. Silence is deadly. I'm not just going to talk to you about what they said. I'm going to deal with you about what they didn't. If I don't say enough to you, there's something in you that's not growing. I can prove because you think I'm dumb, but the book of Hebrews says, by your words, worlds are framed. Come on, Rachel. That means that words build things. So if you feel like something's missing in you as a man and something's missing in you as a woman, it could probably be that somebody didn't steward their tongue. I'm looking at about 800 people that ain't heard I love you enough. Hey, we here. Come on. I'm looking at men that ain't heard I'm proud of you enough. I'm looking at women that ain't heard you're beautiful, lovable, important, significant. And so they, watch this, they live their lives and build their relationships in assumption because somebody's tongue was untrained. And you don't realize how that's impacted you. You sitting up applying for jobs and programs and degrees and preaching, not realizing that you needed to hear something you didn't. Whole races have not heard something. And because of that, they've taken on violence. Because here's what I studied, Duder. When the heart has not heard, it gets mad. Now, I got another one for you in a couple of weeks, but I'm going to give you a break. Rage and anger is in more of you than what you think. It just, okay. Come on, y'all. Let's go. Rage and anger don't always look like I'm going to beat you up. Rage and anger has several ways that it expresses itself. And one of the root ways that rage and anger manifests is offense or stonewalling. Ask me why. If you've not heard it, you won't say it. So your way to cope with conflict and to cope with struggle is to shut down. I'm going to let you sit in it. You're just like, I don't want to be bothered with it. You avoid it, evade it. But the maturing apostle told us you got to pay attention to that tongue. Now, let's shout a little bit, and then we'll get back to my text. I'd like to encourage you, because I know you're mad at me already, and I ain't even got started. But it's gumbo season, so I'll go home and be fine. You still, T.T. Mary, have a word. God has said something about you, watch me, that ain't happened yet. That's going to still happen. Throw them hands up and say, I still got a word. Oh, you don't believe that? Say, it's coming to pass. So it makes you wonder about the power, the science, the technology of words, what they do, what they mean, okay? Small thing, large reality. Verse 5 of this says, small things cause big trauma. Fag, whore, slut, stupid, dumb, idiot, or, come on, deep breath. Those of you that have parents that wouldn't even claim you, that's a word war. If somebody doesn't have the love enough to say, you're my daughter, you're my son, and they leave you with that void, and you turn 30, my mother said 50, and it's true, and you've had to figure out life on your own, because being claimed, watch me, this is so uncomfortable. Being claimed is a part of identity. Once somebody says, I claim you, you feel like you have an inheritance. So it makes me wonder how many of you are really orphans. Sit in it. Come on. Don't. It makes me wonder even if you have an insurance policy, if you feel owned. The deeper pain is feel wanted. And when you don't feel wanted, you get self-destructive. Come on, open yourself. The unwanted do destructive things. So when somebody does not feel like nobody wants me, they start doing crazy stuff in life. Crackheads, sex addicts, alcoholics. Because the mind is like, nobody wants me anyway. Now, the reason this is hitting you in a weird place is because you never thought about come on, y'all, make this easy for me. You never thought about the impact of the tongue on the soul. You thought about the impact of the tongue on the heart. But in your soul, the tongue has the power to lash, cut, drain. It's bad. And James gave us some real crazy stuff. And if we're going to believe anybody, it should be him. Now, Peter was a cusser. Pray for me. I'm trying to work on it. It's, So if Peter said it, we'd be like, yeah, bro, we know you like to call people everything. James was mature. And a part of what he teaches us is you as a believer in my brother, as a Christian, watch your mouth. Facebook grieves me. Instagram grieves me. They are tremendous instruments of the acceleration of the message of Jesus, but they are weapons in the hands of the cowards who don't want to say stuff face to face. That will type what their tongue intends to wound and pierce. So it's a small, y'all good? Are you sure? Y'all are, Lord have mercy. I'm doing this in love. Verse 6 tells us something else in my text. The tongue apparently can set your world on fire. When I was studying this, I'm like, now wait a minute. I got kids, businesses, houses, properties, real estates, investments, stocks, bonds, insurance. My world can be ruined by my tongue. No matter what I do or what I say, something can happen by the mouth that can ruin my world. Your world can be hit by something someone says. You're not acknowledging this, and I'm going to help you process through it, but there is something missing from your reality because of a curse. I know y'all. And the way James said it, come on, John, don't. Do not. Not this morning. We can do it later. To set your world on fire means that there is somebody that is a verbal arsonist. Whether they know you or not, have seen you or not, or have talked to you or not, they can say you're a deadbeat. You're nasty. You're crazy. You're empty. And they can and it's the, okay, come on. It's the worst when it comes from parents. Your daddy calls you a sissy. Jesus, I need you. Your mama calls you stupid. And you live under the staple of the fire of the tongue. Now, this is so profound to me, although it's simple, because I'm Pentecostal. So I got filled with the Holy Ghost and I learned how to talk in tongues. That same fire has power to destruct stuff. So y'all are in cars and gyms and sports tearing your kids down and you think it's normal. Black people are guilty. Of reducing their children by the power of the tongue. And the way it works is you ain't nothing. You just like your daddy. But mug, you slept with him. So what does that make you? But we can't say that or we're disrespectful. But the tongue! The tongue. If I were to do this whole thing over again, I would teach people about your mouth. Watch your mouth. I would start my mentoring process with who are you talking to? Watch your mouth because you will reap what you sow. There's a lot of you that's binding the devil, but you're really reaping. It's not hell, it's harvest. You talk too much. And the things that you say, y'all don't like that. The things that you say have come back to you. Watch me, the things that you allow to be said around you. Even though you might not be implicit, you were involved because they wanted to talk about it around you and didn't realize that was contagious. And you took that attitude and approach with you because you didn't know how to tell people, leave me out of that. That ain't my business. I think we need the integrity to say, hey, he might be that, she might be this, but it ain't got nothing to do with me. I got my own, I'm working in here. I got my own issues, my own pain, my own nightmares. Don't talk to me about that or them. But y'all like drama. Can we do this? So James gives us some real interesting stuff, like you'll watch that tongue. And I'm like, bro, I was reading this, Ashley, and I'm like, ain't you got something else to talk about? Why as the most mature apostle are you dealing with the discipleship of the tongue? Because, wait a minute. All of your faith is confession-based. If you believe in your heart, and confess. But what happens when the instrument of confession curses? If I go to heaven based upon what I say, then I can use hell by what I say or what I don't. Some of your parents were great people. They were just too quiet. And because you oh, Lord, Jesus is a fire. Come on, verse 8. Let's go through this. Y'all good? We need a break. Do we need to? Candace, you straight? Keep going. Yes, ma'am. Verse 8 scares me, Elder Deborah. Listen to this. Now, I'm a scholar. The Bible is my best friend. But when you read it slower, you see stuff. I didn't realize, Tyler, that the tongue had poison. Are you a snake? A viper? A python? That verse said the tongue had poison in it, which meant I can say something that killed you. I can say something without a knife, a gun, a bullet that killed you. Now, here's the worst part. Deep breath. Now, you know you Christians are passive aggressive. So I don't even have to say it in your face. I can say it at dinner. I can say it through text, through post, through type. I can tag. I can say it through. But it's still venomous nonetheless. And there are many Christians that don't take responsibility for their venom. They want to prophesy. They want to pray. They don't want to repent of their venom. What did you say? Oh, that thing is heavy right now. You don't even want to shout amen. It's because most of you are guilty. Christians don't like to own the behavior of the tongue. They don't like admitting that they had no brace on their mouth. And then, Elder Dorian, I love you. But then Jeremiah in them says stuff like, set a watch on my mouth that I won't sin against you. I don't care what that man is. He saved my life. I don't care how that woman acts. I can't do what she do. We critique people whose competence is above ours. I'm going to go there today. It's going to be bad. I'm telling you now. Let me know. You can't talk about people whose education precedes yours. Your credit score is 438. And you got the unmitigated gall to critique their marriage, their business, their relationship. Who do you think? Lift your hands and scream, shut up. You barely go to the dentist and don't floss. They don't scrape their tongues, but they will lift their voices. You're going to use your tongue, let it be clean. Verse 9. Can I keep going? Is this okay? Say group therapy. All of us have been impacted in some way by something somebody said or not. So verse 7 and 8, because I don't want you to accuse me of not being in my text. Verse 7 and 8 says it's poisonous. So the way I study is I'm like, poison, wow. Poison does a lot. Poison is intentional. Poison is deadly. Poison is targeted. Poison is deliberate. So the tongue can have a target. The tongue can sit in a room and say, I'm aiming her. Now, where I get confused, I almost called you Evan, is why am I in your mouth? Of all the things you need to work on, why the Hades? That's the best way to say it. Are you talking about me? Because you wouldn't be you without me. So at the end of the day, why are you talking about me? Shut the heaven up. But there were some of you that was in here a few minutes ago like, thank you, Lord God. And your tongue is filled with poison. Had I not taught this, you would have went home and found somebody's name to chew. And because I'm talking about this, everybody got the victory, but you're a hypocrite. That's how Christians are. They love taking advantage of people's weaknesses with their words and laughing at people for what they do. That's my journey, at least. So the tongue has poison. The other conflict I have, say, go deeper. This is important to me, Ashley, because Jesus had a nickname. My name is Buki. Some people say Boo. I hate when people call me Matt. It makes me, no, I just got to let it all out. I can't stand. Hey, Apostle Matt. Hey, Dr. Matt. I'm like, bro, if they're a surfer from California, do not refer to, my name is Matthew. My mother named me on purpose. It makes me sick. My name is Matthew. Jesus gave himself a nickname. He called himself the Word. Sit in that for a minute. His name is Jesus Christ. But he called himself the Word. Deep breath. He had a tattoo. I know you don't like that. Religious devil, but on his thigh. Y'all mad at me for my hand. This dude got one on his thigh. And the name of it was called the Word of God. If Jesus says, I'm the Word, it means that words have got to be used deliberately. Words have got to be used intentionally. I don't give you a nickname irreligiously or it's sacred. If I call you baby, boo, honey, sugar, what I'm saying to you is I'm attached. If Jesus is the Word, your ignorance is you think that when Jesus says I'm the Word, he says I'm the Bible. But he's not. Because he said out of his mouth, Elder Deborah, you keep searching the scriptures. And y'all love Moses more than me. And you think in them you find eternal life. But this is that speaks of me. The Bible is the autobiography of Jesus. And he chose to call himself the Word. How have you mismanaged your words? I figured it would be painful. Do you I love you enough? Come on, y'all. I feel you tightening. Now, Prophetess Katie, you're my favorite person. I love you so much. Everybody in the African American persuasion / inner city urban persuasion thinks that the daddy wound is the worst. I've been doing this almost 18 years, and you know what I learned? That mama wound is just as bad. Y'all don't like talking about it because in the black family, the mama is sacred. Y'all can dishonor, disown, defame the daddy because it's normal to y'all. Y'all watch movies and documentaries like daddies are deadbeats, but what if your mama was wicked? Open yourself now to be healed. Your mama! And what I learned was there's a lot of women in this church that got a mama wound. And not deliberately, but because she was trying to make up for what your daddy was not. And so she open. Because she overextended herself to try to be mommy and daddy. And it ended you up without a nurturer. And when you grow up without a nurturer, you just figure it out on your own and become whatever life wants you to be. But y'all are holy hypocrites. Because on Mother's Day, you got roses, fruit, flowers, roses. On Father's Day, you don't even come to church. Because she groomed you to believe that his brokenness was less impactful than hers. But the problem is you crazy because of both of them. And I'm the only one that got the nerve to tell you. She was a bad wife. Just like he was open up now. She was a horrible wife. An awful mom. She was just there. Deep breath. You can't honor someone just because they was there. The hard truth is that you think consistency is care. And it's not. What if you have a present abuser? Apostle BJ, may I say this, please? Some of my worst problems in church have perfect attendance. I don't give a darn. No, sir. That you hear every Sunday. You don't tithe. You disrespect who I put in authority. You're rebellious, but just because you got your hips in a seat, you want me to be grateful that you're here? Bye. I don't care. Because consistency is not care. But when you're wounded, you value consistency because it's a Band-Aid. So when something is there all the time, we're like, oh, that helped. No, it didn't, baby. It medicated. Sameness, safety, synchronization. Okay, don't lock up on me, y'all. Darrell, come on. I see you. Don't lock up. So Jesus called himself Tito the Word, which means that if I'm going to say I'm a Christian, I got to value the Word. I have to be deliberate about what I say with my tongue. I have to use, watch me, my ministry is in my mouth. So when I wake up and say good morning to my son, it needs to mean something. When I say good morning to my daughter, I have to put something behind it. Ask me why. The words I speak They are spirit. Their life. The bad part about that is if Jesus said that and we're supposed to be Christians, that means that it's the same for us. So the words I speak are spirit and life, which means the words I don't speak are death. Does your son know you're proud of him? Oh, come on, y'all. Come on. Do your friends know you value their presence in you? I'm going to tell you why you tightening up. You scared of vulnerability. You got so much ego that you only like to be naked in sex. And so because of that, open up. It takes nakedness to connect. And nakedness in the Bible is about revealing imperfection. So you got to say, I'm imperfect in this. Will you love me still? I don't know how to do this. Can you connect to me still? I'm growing in this, and do you still want me still? But because your mama didn't know what she was doing, and your daddy went to buy some bread and didn't come back, or because you were adopted, you hate nakedness. You don't like people to see you where and how you are. And by the time they do, you in the bed with them. But what I'm learning, Elder Candace, we can debrief later tonight, baby. What I'm learning is sex is a decoy. I'm about to open up because y'all won't open, so I'm going to crack. Y'all ain't real freaks. I am, not for, I mean, but y'all ain't a real freak. Well, honestly. But y'all like sex for your symptoms. Because those endorphins come on and open yourself. Make you feel like you're not as wounded as you really are. You having sex because of a sentence that ain't been said. Anyway, you don't like this. Jesus said, I'm the word. Sorry, guys. Now, there's another thing. Can I go a little deeper? I'm almost done. I'm going to get out your way because y'all irritated with me. Tyler, I love you. Jesus said this, Prophetess Katie. It's by a man's words that he is acquitted or ensnared. I wonder if some of your hardships are because of your mouth. To be ensnared means to be imprisoned. To be acquitted means to be released. Now, we believe in confession when it comes to faith. Y'all are good with the declaration, name it, claim it, blame it, blab it. Y'all love that. Y'all like, yes, Kenneth Copeland. Bill Winston. You want to claim a car and not your healing? You want a company and not your soul? What are you using your mouth to do? Theoretically. Humbling. So, Jesus said, by man's words, he's ensnared. I looked at that while I was studying this, and I was baffled. I got a degree in English. So I was like, yo, you mean to tell me some of my limitations is because of what I say? Or what I don't? Because here's the hard truth. All right, y'all, let's go. Group therapy. Deep breath. Come on, deeper from your spleen. Exhale. Even if you have a loud person in your life, if they don't say what you need to be said, you grow, develop, mature, or marry in the space of that silence. If your father died without ever saying, I love you, you're my pride and joy. If your mother thought that the way to love you was to be hard on you, It made you a talented person, a performer. So the things that are said, according to James, are just as dangerous as the things that are not. And I'm looking at okay, Lord Jesus, if you send the anointing, I'll. There's a lot of you in here fighting for the affection of silent men and women. And what it did was made you a performer, which means you don't recognize real love. Because real love, come on, open, hey, don't make you perform. Real love is like, I love you whether you do or don't, whether you say or not. I love you with an A, I love you with an F. I love you if you're holy, I love you if you're ratchet. Love is love. But of course you're a Christian, so you don't understand that. So, so the tongue is a sword, and I can use it for you or against you. When a father does this, according to the don't fall out. Please, I need you to shoot somebody if they walk up on me. In the Old Testament, in the Old Testament, when a father laid hands on his son, he had to say something. He couldn't lay hands on him and be quiet. There was a decree. Jesus and John, and they were named after the seventh day. Say something, open your mouth. Because once I open my mouth, I've created identity. I've created destiny. I've stirred potential. Now, there are people in your life that really do, listen, I know you don't believe this, but just believe me, please. There are people in your life that really love you. They just don't know how to say it. And they don't know how to say it because their parents raised them in Braille. All right, can we go deeper? I'm almost done. I'm about to wear you out. You came to church because you wanted to. Words are also, Noel, words are platforms. I'm standing on a stage. So when I use my words, I'm on a stage. I'm staging how I feel. So when I use my words, if the tongue is a fire and if the tongue builds, and God said, let there be. The whole of our Bible starts off with conversation. The planet we're in came to be because God said something. I'll get to that point in a minute, but words are platforms. They're stages. They are elevators. They communicate things, and one of the things they communicate, take notes, is feelings. I know how you feel because of what you say. The adverse of that is if you don't say, I don't know what you feel. So how in the heck do you be mad at me for not knowing what you feel because you didn't say? You charge pastors, leaders, fathers, mothers, sisters, brothers, because of your silence. Say it! And leave the right for conversation. So words are platforms for feelings. Words are also platforms for meditations. I don't know what you've been thinking about. Come on, let's talk about this tongue. I don't know what you've been thinking about or concentrating on or focusing on if you won't say it. I don't know what's going on in your head. And if you're going to say, I love you, let me know what you're thinking about. And allow me the right with your. Now, here's a problem. I had to rebuke. It was mean. My wife rebuked me. I told one of my former members at this point, tried to use the word narcissist to me and couldn't spell it. I said, who are you talking to? Tell the whole story. Your kids would be in hell if not for me. How dare you? But that's how people are. They will live and decide and move in 50% and not tell the other side because we love to be the victim. And because I'm the pastor, I can never say my side. Because if I say my side, I'm a wolf. You say your side, you a victim. You got church hurt, as if I don't. Your thoughts, they're in there. Your expression is used by words. Here's another major one. I want you to really hear this. Desires. I have a problem with the cage of expectation. So the tongue communicates expectation. The tongue says, be this, do this, but desire is a little more forgiving than expectation. Expectation is final. You gonna do this or else I'm gonna be disappointed. Desire is more like, yo, I have an appetite for this, a need for this, and I'm willing to negotiate where you are on it. But if you don't say it, nobody knows what's going on. And nobody knows how to be, see, do, or say what you want to express. Say, yeah. That's the weakest yeah I've heard in 18 years. Here's a deep one. Take a deep breath. And I'm not loosening up. I'm on assignment. Exhale. Without your mouth, I don't know what hurts. Your pain is in partnership with your mouth. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come to me now. You're not going to hide behind this guitar. Come to me. Grown men can hurt. Sit in that. Pain has a relationship with the tongue as well. So here's how it works. You get mad, angry, disappointed, afraid. Something hurts. It comes from the abyss of your soul. And you unfairly hit people with stuff that ain't got nothing to do with them. You like, wait a minute, what in the tornado just happened? I'm not every friend that failed you. I didn't sleep with your mama. I didn't fire you from that job. I was not that teacher at that school. But I taught you that pain likes responsibility. So if you don't talk and learn how to use that tongue the right way, thank you, Father, people won't know what hurts you. Now, if you're going to say I'm your friend, father, sister, brother, husband, or wife, don't keep, okay, y'all are like, out of here, we here. And the worst part, Jason, is I don't even care no more. If you keep saying I love you and don't tell me what hurts you, one of them is a lie. I know you love me when I feel safe with telling you what hurts me. If I can say that hurts, you don't got to take ownership for it, but you need to know it. Vice versa. My God, from Israel. Say vice versa. Because you know you church people love one-sided relationships. Y'all love that. But vice versa. Whether the authority is different or the rank is different or the rule is different, I need to know, like, how does this work? What do we do? Let's make it a conversation. And what I didn't realize until I studied this was the tongue was an instrument of pain. If you don't believe me, listen to the last year of preaching. Not from me, from y'all's faves. When people are in pain, they say stuff and they articulate stuff and they text stuff. And now here's the deeper issue, or another deep issue. When I say tongue, you don't think type. But tongue and type is the same. You keyboard cowards. Because not liking me is one thing, fighting me is another. You internet bandits. The real truth is that you got a heart issue and don't want to talk about the problem. So what I think you should do pragmatically, I got a couple of more points from my text, is be practical about it. How? Like this. We're about to have a hard conversation. Breathe. Okay. Sandwich. Say sandwich. Scream sandwich. I'm giving you industry secrets, Chris. Do it like this. Affirm them first. I love you. You're amazing. You gifted. You mean the world to me. And then hit them mugs with the meat. You foul, out of order, wicked, ugly, whatever it is. And then close it with an affirmation. One of the most profound rebukes I've gotten from the Holy Spirit over the last 18 years, I've said this to you, is I affirm behind your back, but rebuke in your face. It got to me that people were shocked about how I felt about them. Because in my mind, I'm like, I'm vocal. I preach. But you know one of the worst things I learned about myself? I'm an awful communicator. When I first learned that, I said, I know you're not going to tell somebody who's been preaching since 99 that they don't communicate well. Excuse me? I'll disrespect you. Deliberately. But it was true. It was true because this is not communication. I didn't know. I was lost. I'm like, God, dog. All these years, the people that I love don't really know it. And they learn it privately. Because in your face, I'm like, you're out of order, wicked, foul, false, grow up, mature, and then behind their back, I'm like, I love them. They're amazing. They're beautiful. And what it created was this gap of expression where people are like, he would never say that about me. And they're like, no, I'm telling you, we was at lunch. And he said he loved you with his life. Can we go a little deeper? I'm almost done. My wife wants me to come home. Pray for me, please. There are two more things that the tongue expresses. It's perspective and perception. Perspective and perception. I know what you've been thinking about or reviewing or researching by what you say. What I'm trying to do is break this yoke off of y'all where y'all think just because we're prophetic, we got to be mind readers. We are under no obligation, scream yes, to know what you need because of what you won't say. And that goes for husband and wife. No! That goes for sister and brother. Say it. And if you don't say it, I can't really decide it. What are you holding in? Anyway, so perspective and reflect. Come on, open up. Y'all tight. Y'all are tight. Y'all are AME in this morning. All right. Now, sorry. Validation, endurance, affirmation. Words cause injuries. One of the worst things we could have ever learned was sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. It's a lie. Apostle Talent, this is simple, and I almost feel like a dummy for saying this, but this was a part of our meditation. I realized probably 90 to 100% of bullying is word-based. I can't bully you by closing a door in your face. People will get over that. I can't bully you by ignoring you. I can bully you by saying things to, about, around you. I cannot tell you how much injuries I've endured because people said stupid stuff, no matter how much money I gave them, or how many kids I've christened, or how many ordinations I've done, and they just still whack their mouth. Illiterate is crap. But talk. There are things I would never say about my man of God. You couldn't pay me. There are relationships that change worlds. This man renovated my world. If I don't like something, do you think I'm going to be found on a text message because I want to be a hero because I'm broke and got a GED? And discuss him derogatorily? Never. Now, I know I'm different. I was raised by soldiers, so I have different principles of honor than y'all. I understand. But the point I'm trying to make is your mouth will reward you, good or right. You pray with your mouth. You confess with your mouth. You praise with your mouth. You affirm with your mouth. You love with your mouth. You have a low self-esteem right now because somebody didn't use their mouth for you. And if they did, it was nasty. What I'm expressing is somebody should have said, I love you more. This is going to be uncomfortable for you, but I'm going to say it anyway. Somebody should have said, I need you. We're better because we like Valentine's Day. We like them little demons that shoot you with on the thing because they're devils. Saying I love you for a lot of people is easier than saying I need you. But you need people, dummy. Like there are things that you need. You don't know how to husband, and you don't know how to mother, and you don't know for real how to friend. And what happens is you're going to live your life until you're 70 in a bunch of attempts. Practicing and talenting because of what you won't say. I grieve for men that grew up to silent dads. Who sat in rocking chairs drinking beers watching football and wouldn't look at science projects and say, Daddy's proud. Those of you that had mothers who felt like their way to love was to be hard on you because of the man she chose to sleep with. You were a victim of their relationship, frankly. And this heifer, ooh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm back. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Got the nerve to penalize you for who she wanted. You didn't ask to be the victim of their sex. He must have been worth something because you sure gave it up. So don't talk about my daddy. Lord, why do I feel a chill in here? I don't care what he ain't. It don't make you more. It take two to screw. Put those hands to. Glory to God. I'm trying to help you heal. Because what will happen, I'm going to tell you why. What happens is, in this tradition, we hero the female role because they endure longer. My mama is everything. She's a hero. She's God. She did all of this. And we believe her version of the guy this person slept. And if science is right, T.T. Mary, she could masturbate you here. God is talking right now. She couldn't sit there and do that by herself. It took him to. Meanwhile, you praising all the attributes and awards and traits that come from her, dishonoring him because he's a man. But that's how the devil likes it. Kill the men, even though the woman is his worst enemy. So it's really crazy because he hates y'all. The problem is the words. If I'm going to say Happy Mother's Day, I have to say Happy Father's Day. Ooh, this thing is hot. Here's why, Vanna. Okay, one more. Come on. Well, now, I'm Baptist. You owe me 4 closes. Deep breath. Okay. You didn't choose your parents. God did. In God's mind, he was like, I want this and that to bring forth this. Even if you don't like them, how dare you lift your hands to him and not like who he chose to physicalize you in the earth? Throw them hands up and scream, F you. You have to get to the place where you realize that a large part of your world is word-based. And there are things about your life, your career, your journey, your relationships that are happening or not because of what won't be said or because of what won't be said. Now, I know how men are. So you approach men, Tito, and you want to have a naked conversation with them. They get uncomfortable. But think about the devil. How interesting it is that the enemy would allow men to grow and not know how to use their language. Y'all got whole authority on the planet and won't talk. Scream, open up. Thank you, baby. Oh, if I had cash, I would pay off your year right now. As a man, one of the most important things you can give to the people around you is your words. And some of us think everybody want money and food and all of that. And some of that is true. Some people do want to use you. I've been walked on all this church, this entire experience. Legit. But think about how dangerous it is for a man to not use his mouth. Y'all want prophecy, prayer, praise and worship and preaching. But the words do a lot more. They achieve the same thing. It's the same engine. It's the same battery. And some of you are not confident, broken, wounded, afraid, nervous, insecure, unstable, because somebody didn't say something. Or because somebody did say something. You're not a sissy. Give me a minute. Somebody needs to receive that. Sometimes people from the South, that old school generation, think that there was a way to grow their boys up. You don't play basketball, you're a fag. And they live up in that identity, and I have to minister to them as world changers. And then you get mad at me because I did what you couldn't. Only thing you could do was create them. You couldn't form them. It's because of the mismanagement of the mouth. Don't ever, why would you call somebody anything that they're not? You only call people what they are. Because if not, you develop a real word wound. What Christian and in Pentecostalism, they like this crap. They be like, you old dyke. And then, you know what's awful, Anika? Oh, wow. I feel my people. What's awful is as Christians say amen. Bishop so-and-so be like, God is healing the dykes. And an illiterate, retarded, alopecia-having Christian whose edges will not grow says, you better preach. Betty, do you not have better things to consider? Do you understand what I'm teaching you? In your own personal reflection, think about how words have impacted you. The presence of them, but the absence of them. Elder Jazz, I don't think I sat in this morning at 4 because I had a moment where I was thinking about men and women whose dad wouldn't claim them, even if they ain't have nothing. Nigga, oh, so I'm sorry. Prophetess, pray for me, please. Sir, you ain't got much but a name. Why is claiming me so hard? And there are people in this church and beyond whose fathers don't even say, that's my boy. And that's my daughter. And what it does is, because fathers are authority figures, whether they claim you or not, come on, deep breath. I'm teaching you. Even if your father don't say you're mine, you're still his. So what happens is, what he says or not sends you into seasons. So even if a father doesn't say, this is mine, whatever he says about you can send you into warfare. Because that's what fathers do. They carry futures. There is no future without a father. A seed bears fruit after its kind. So there are men around the world who acted like they didn't sleep with who they did. The black church, your nappy head self, it's full of dysfunction. Because y'all shouting and tambourining with daddies who won't even say, I love you. That's it. I got my own money. Come on. I got my own property. I don't need you for that. Mug, you need to go and find a coupon line yourself. But when that's the reality, you have life consequence. Now, I know you don't believe this, but just trust my experience. When that is the case, some of your behavior is based on their silence. Some of your addictions, some of your habits, some of your reflexes, it's based on their absence. So my challenge to you is use your words better. This is group therapy. Scream yes. What I'm telling you to do is manage that mouth. Make it matter. Life, Pastor Darrell, is made of moments. Oh, crap. I'm so sick of this church. Pray for me. Life is made of moments. When you look at your high school book or your report cards or your resume, what you're really doing is reviewing, say, moments. But here's the bad news. Hey, Prophet Arian. Pastor Yolanda told me you wore that thing out. I love you. That's my son. You say something about him, I'll smack the piss out of you. I'm emeritus, sorry. But moments, sorry, blame her. Moments are made of memories. Deep breath. Come on, I'm about to work on you. Before the year is out, you got to deal with your memories. You have to do something in your mind about what you remember. Here's why. Come on, y'all. Come on. Come on, mama, please don't do this to me. I want to go home. Come on. Come on. Come on. People don't know that memories matter. Whether it's memories of rape or memories of abortion or memories of molestation or memories of abuse or memories of death or memories of loss, memories matter. And the problem is there's a lot of you that are in where you are because you don't know how to manage memories. I love God. And a part of what he does is he heals memories. He has the power to heal memories. Now, if God heals memories, he can change your moments. Hey, and if he can change your moments, he can extend your life. What I've taught you today has the potential to make you meet your grandchildren. Your life can be extended if you learn to manage the memories. Yeah, he did that, she did that, he said that. But I will not be captivated by it. Your ear is hostage right now by something somebody said to you. Sergio, you're a theologian. I love you. One of the things you need to know, and everybody else, is Jesus always bound a deaf and dumb spirit. Say deaf and dumb. Say deaf and dumb. What that means is I can only say what I heard. So if I didn't hear I love you, I don't feel comfortable with saying I love you. And one of the things Jesus did often was rebuke a deaf and dumb spirit. I need you to hear so you can say. Put it in the earth. Loose this. Because what you say grants identity. If you don't trust me, look at the book of Genesis. And God said, let there be. And there was. Pastor Janice, but watch this. I know you'll catch the Holy Ghost on this one. God said, let there be, and there was. And then he said, it was good. I like this. This is amazing. Good job. Because of my offices, I rebuke with great passion. I will correct the stew out of you. But what I learned is that rebuke and affirmation have the same authority. When I started my church in an attempt to protect people from pride, I rebuked them all the time. Stop, don't, do. I did all that. When I grew, I started saying, yo, you did that. You won that. That was amazing. And what I started to learn is that they did the same things. But I didn't know. It was a real epiphany, Gabby. I was like, whoa. That affirmation accelerated them in the same way that rebuke matured them. It's both and. On a battery, you got a positive and a negative. But the problem is when you're wounded, you only want positive. And when you're scared, you only use negative. We have to recover from word wounds. Was your mother overtaxed? Don't answer me. Was your mother overtaxed because she was trying to make up for your dad? Was your father silent because he was tired? Or are you guilty of the same thing? All right, y'all tightening. Come on. I'm trying to make you better. Because maybe your daughter ain't rebellious at all. Maybe she just needs Valium. Maybe your son is not hard-headed at all. You probably misunderstand him. That boy wants Valium out of you. Hey, baby, here's what it looks like. Let me give you an example. Whether you do good or not, let's act this out. If you cry on me, fine. Please. If this is my natural boy. Whether you do good or not, you're my boy. You have the right to get in trouble and the right to have a season and the right to do all of that. That's how that looks. It looks, come to me. It looks like this. I don't care what you do or what they say. I'm dad. Forget them people, and that's me being respectful. You can make your mistakes. Have your issues, and I'm going to tear you up. You get in this room, I'm going to wear you out, but I will not let them do it. I will go off. Because when you're mine, that's the bottom line. So have your issues and wars and dramas and traumas. I'm going to correct you, but I'm not going to crush you. And I refuse to let them do it. That's what that looks like. We don't know that. Because in our tradition, everything is so darn conditional. I got to be perfect for you to stay. In church, I even got to be perfect for you to at least pray. I got to be without flaw, without error, without mistake, without humanity. It's not right. So when you deal with word wounds, what we're dealing with is what they said, what they didn't say, and we're also dealing with what you don't say. Now, you may sing well, Grace. You may preach and teach well. You may talk well. Don't assume that means that you're a good communicator. The problem, Brownie, is that there are people who are talkative that think they're a good communicator. Mug, we ain't heard nothing you said. All you did was blab. Now, hard truth, some of you talk too much. Shut up. I'm going to tell you what I've learned. Puda, if they will talk about me to you, they will talk about you to me. I'm telling you what I've lived. They will come to you like, all nations is a zaga, 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 zaga. And they'll come in front of my face like, great men and women. You fake carrot head. Ken, it's real. They'll go to restaurants with me and be like, you're my father. I just longed for this moment. Then somebody gets disgruntled. They're like, yep, I had the same experience. I don't know. People are double-tongued. And they're, oof. Amen. Certain parts of them have not grown. So the point I'm making is that you need to heal to the point where yes, Lord, your words do what they should. Because your kids need your words. Even if you make the boundary and say, I ain't giving you no more money. Pay your own rent, idiot. I'm good with that, but use your words. Hey, baby, I'm not giving you no money because you're too grown for this. Or the adverse, if you're going to love them enough to correct them. The unfortunate thing is we are in a culture that despises correction, so they don't really like words that correct. They're so hurt that they only want to be affirmed. I'm the type of dude, I'm not about to be complimenting you every day. So I'm not going to say, hey, you're cute, you're handsome, you're nice, you're anointed, you're fine, you're gorgeous, you're doing that. What I'm going to do, the way I say I love you is warning. Don't do that. Watch that. I'm protective. That's just how God made me. But when you don't know that, you don't have a palate for it. You don't have an appetite for it. So you hear don't do that is you're nothing. The problem is how you learned words. Right? So appreciate your spelling bees. Appreciate your essays. How have words impacted you? Or how have they robbed you? Have you been on a rat race trying to figure out if somebody believed in you? Or if somebody knew you were capable? Did you want the safe? All right, deep breath. Come on, y'all. Lord Jesus, this is a lot today. I don't know if is this worse than who left you? They about equal. I believe you. Performance and silence are related. There's some of you on a rat race to find the I'm proud of you out of people. And the worst truth, come on, y'all, come on, open up. Open. The worst truth is they ain't even looking. And you like, hey, mommy, I'm smart. Hey, daddy, I can do a flapjack or hopping jock or whatever you call it. The way you recover is you use your words well. If you love your friends, say it. If you love your spouse, you don't let the sun come up before you say you're the best thing that's ever happened to me. You love your kids. If they get an F on their science project, you be like, hey, I ain't like that project, but you're my boy. I think, give me a minute. I think fathers should be the best friends of their sons. I've told my son before, don't you ever entrust any secret with anybody over me. I'm your daddy. And what that means is I'm a powerful man. I can do things that you can't do forever, which means if somebody hurts you, they're going to have a problem with me. True story. My oldest daughter had a situation about a year and a half ago where she was having a bullying issue, and I'm ghetto. Forgive me. Say F you. Your pastor is a Negro. I'm from Inglewood. I found out about it on accident because my oldest daughter is discreet. I left the gym with my muscle shirt on, fully tatted, do-rag and everything. You're going to judge me for this, but I'm going to tell you what happened just to give you an epistle. I drove to that school. I went to the principal's office, Puda, with a do-rag and a muscle shirt on. I had a pump too. It was chest day, so it was out there. This is what happened. My wife will tell you. I said, I'm Dr. Stevenson. Please let me see the principal. I wish I were lying. Ask your best friend. She'll tell you. They said, oh, he's not available. I said, he will be. And he will be soon. Because I'm not going anywhere until he becomes available. So the lady got a little nervous. I sat down. He came out. Now, I was wrong, but I'm telling you how overprotect. Some people express love by protection. But if you've not been protected, you don't hear it as love. You may interpret it as control. Dude came out, and he said, hi, I'm Dr. Blah. I said, oh, I'm Dr. Stevenson. And here's what I did, y'all. His degree was on the wall, Chris. I said, oh, you just graduated, huh? I know. He said, yes. I said, oh, I'm about 9 years in. I said, with a greater degree and an emphasis in 2 more certificates. I got type 45 and more. Let me talk to you about my daughter, because what I wanted him to know was I will have your job. If my child is wounded, you will be unemployed, was what I was expressing. Sorry. The man got to trembling. He's like, I said, oh, and you went to a Christian college? How nice. What I did, Elder Jason, was express my love for my child. I said, hey, from one educator to another, from one administrator to another, you cannot steward this school and not be aware of the painful experiences that your students have and be in there making copies. He said, yes, sir, I will fix it immediately. By the time I got to my house, he was on my phone again. Dr. Stevenson? I said, yes, sir. I fixed it. It will never happen again. But I said, I know you did. Because I'll be in City Hall. I'm not playing with you. One phone call away from not having a job. Because I don't play about what's mine. What I'm trying to teach you to do, use your words. Don't decree and declare and bind and loose and hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. And let the people in your world be ambiguous or in another space. This is, let me figure out the best way to say this, one of the most prophetic houses in America. We are seeing people. All Nations got a lot wrong with it. But one of the things right with it is if we say it, it's going to happen. We've been called to prophesy. We just know how to talk. We don't know how to I love you or thank you. Jesus had this same issue. He healed some people and other people walked away. But only a few came back and said, hey, I appreciate what you did. And Jesus was like, oh, I swear I heal more than you because we don't know how to talk. Word wounds are real when they come from authority figures, pastors, leaders, friends. Now I'm going to tell you where it gets the worst. When you believe it. It hurts worse when somebody says something that you've already been battling with. So somebody says you're a failure, and you've already been in your heart like, I failed on this. Their accusation plus your meditation changes your mood, your life, your love. So your assignment is you will take this week and you will think about your word wounds. What was said. Or the painful one is what wasn't. I'm the first one in my family to go to college. And all I got was good luck. That's an example. Think about your word wounds. You get a job and you start making money and your parents be like, pay my bills. Like it's your job. Word wounds. Now, in the final conclude, I feel, hold on, come on, breathe. You have to breathe. Scoot next to her. Put your hand on her back. When women have hard lives, they don't know how to nurture. Come on, receive. Receive. You don't even know how to receive because you've been fighting. Open that heart. I grieve for strong people. I am one. Strong people suffer. Strong people don't ever get asked, are you good? Strong people don't even get asked, what do you need? Strong people don't get asked, how was your day? Strong people just get ignored. And when you're strong, you get the most word woundings. Because when you're strong, that community thinks that your only job is for you to be responsible. Come on, baby. And one of the things I've learned is that manhood is about weakness. Whew. I thought it was strength too, but I found out I was deceived. Manhood is about weakness. You got to know how to fall. You got to know how to cave. You got to know how to be reliant. If you don't, you can't be led of God. And if you live your life as a grown man trying to prove to everybody you're strong, you'll fail everybody around you. You got to have a thorn. Because without a thorn, you have no grace. God told Paul, no. Paul was like, take this from me. God was like, the way my plan for you is situated. No, sir. You will have, watch me, this need of me for the rest of your life. And I have to keep it there so you can have authority. Without a weakness, you have no authority. You have to keep a weakness because it keeps you attached. So let's use our, okay, wait a minute. Chris, I'm sorry. We have to use our words better. Affirm, validate, confirm. I can't stand when people act like wow. You are as great as what you know. Your enemies just have more value and volume than your friends. You are what you are. You're an apostolic ally. You're like Silas to Paul. But your enemies have grabbed a microphone and your friends have gone under a bed. They need to be louder. Greatness is lonely. I know you don't think this, but creativity is lonely. Because I know we use that phrase and that word, but y'all ain't creative. A lot of people just do more of the same. And when you are a creative person, it is isolating. If you have a creative child, they're going to be lonely. Because the world does not understand them. And what's going to happen is when they die, they'll become a hero. Everybody will appreciate them in death. So your words really do matter. Now, I know y'all think I'm whatever, but them hugs, repeat after me, holy hugs, heal. There is a such thing as anointed affection. It does stuff. It moves stuff. Y'all are, oh my Lord, this whole section over here. What do you want me to do? Your gifts are at the mercy of your words. The right thing is not said to, around. Come on. If you need to cry, go ahead. Do it. Don't hold that in. I grieve for many of you women that dated idiots because your daddy was quiet. Or, here's a deeper one, had no opinion. Because as a father, you should be like, no, I don't like him. Or, yes, but something don't let me grow in quiet. Come on, sit in it, y'all. It's happening. It's okay. Receive it. Sometimes they want every minister to him, please. Silence creates performance. Repeat that after me. Silence creates performance. So hold on, y'all, come on. I feel my people. When you don't hear it enough, you go into a talent show. Let me do this, let me do that, And then when nobody says good job, or I love you, or whatever, it puts you in a weird space in life. And there are those of you that I'm staring at that's been there for years. Come off the stage. You're going crazy. Let it out, baby. Go. Come on, open up. If you don't come off this stage, you're going to go crazy. And the worst part is you're going to have kids and teach them to do the same. I feel the healing power of God. Words. Words work. Words work. Words work. Words work. Your wife needs them. Your mother needs them. Your father needs them. Your kids need them. You need them. Words work. Now, say words don't make me weak. You can still be strong and say stuff. Now you go. Lord, help me, please. Here's your homework. Don't you get off the phone again with somebody you love without saying it. Never. Are we clear? Because if we do that, you're going to end up lying at a funeral. You're going to clown over a body, having a fit because you didn't get the chance to say what you should have said. Say it now. Do it now. Be it now. Won't you let somebody be stretched out across here and you be like, oh Lord, take me too. Because I will tell you, there's a shipment going out tomorrow. Bye. Say it. Jesus said it. Jesus did it. And we don't realize how much words were a part of his ministry. He used them all the time. Peter, do you love me? He talked. You're suffering from a word wound. The hard truth is maybe you've caused a word wound. Maybe you said something in anger and rage, in disappointment and grief that lacerated somebody. Or the worst part, deep breath, final one. Maybe you just ain't said enough. And it might be in here, but we can't read your imagination. Your wife is pregnant, she don't know how to be. And you walking around frustrated, not supporting her with your volume. Grow up, man up. Same is true with your husband. He's the first in 4 generations that's trying. Even if he messing up. Sorry. Even if he's messing up, at least he's attempted. Your own daddy didn't. And now you got this man Maybe he don't make the money he should. And maybe he don't do everything he should. And maybe he isn't perfect. But he gave you a ring. And he's trying. Whoa, wait a minute. And he's, come on, y'all. He's trying against iniquity. And he's trying against the forces of darkness. He's trying against an agenda of divorce. Is all you're going to do is critique him for the trash being taken out? Are you that stupid? You bullying him over trash and drawers on the floor. When this man is trying to learn love and don't know it. What y'all don't realize is we don't even have grandfathers anymore. That's the crisis we're living in. We can't even call a granddaddy. So we as black millennial men, we're trying to reach back like, so we have to say, Father, I stretch my hands to thee, because ain't nobody else there. And Gabby, the ones that are don't do it right. There are some men, I know you don't believe this, there's some men that don't want wives and adulterers or side pieces. All of us don't want to cheat. I feel a chill. All of us don't want a side piece or a babe. That's not true. But y'all got to release us because y'all think y'all the prize to be won. We got the same war as y'all. If you say, where the men? We like, where's the women? Because the cute ones don't be knowing nothing. Hold on. Y'all feel like y'all got to go outside the church, so do we. The anointed ones don't be looking like nothing. Am I right or am I right? Thank you. They don't like that I say what I say. So what I'm saying is we're in this together, is what I'm saying. Y'all be like, where the men? Apostle Bremen, a man. I'm like, lady. Somebody walked up to me, this is a true story, I'm gonna let you go. Somebody walked up to me during the pandemic and said, ooh, you losing weight. And I was having a bad day. She ain't been back since. I said, you know, I was thinking the opposite about you. You're actually massive. She's a member of another church now. I did. The point I'm making is be fair. Y'all not the only one looking for spouses. Men and women are both looking for companionship. Because after this season, what I'm saying is, I'm sorry. I'm doing it to you and you ain't said nothing. Everybody's looking for companionship. They want somebody to converse with. And that's perfectly fine. I'm about to dig into y'all's dating lives. Here's why. It's a reflection of your pain. I want to know who you want and why. What determines your type? So, amen. God is so good to us. With my hands lifted up on your key and my mouth filled with praise, with a heart of thanksgiving, I will bless thee, O Lord. Come on. With my hands lifted up